I think any neutral at the game would have really enjoyed that match. I think both teams gave everything to it. Purely from an Ayr United point of view, I thought the character shown, considering the way the game went, with getting the early goal and then finding ourselves 2-1 down and down to 10 men at half time. I think anybody worth their salt would have been going in at half time thinking it was about stemming the flow of the team that's top of the league. But our lads showed brilliant togetherness, brilliant resilience, real belief, and played some really good stuff in that second half. I think it was important we stayed in the game. That was the message at half time, but I knew we had players on the pitch that could really hurt them on the counter attack, and that's how it proved. I mean, Franny Amarty was unplayable at times. I've heard a lot of people asking the reason why he came off, and I hope his injury's okay. He was not injured. The kid was, I think his lungs gave up on him on the day, and he held his hands up and he told us on the bench that he just couldn't do any more. So that's great. We need that bit of honesty, which allowed us to get fresh legs on. Logan Chalmers was starting to stretch off and cramp up, so we needed fresh legs on from there. No, I think, listen, everybody played their part in the game. I think it was a brilliant game of football. It was so frustrating to come away from it without the full 3 points, but as I say, at half time, if you had given me a 4-4 draw at that point, I think I would have snapped your hand off. You know what, in this league there seems to be a big narrative for 4 or 5 of the clubs that they seem to be long ball, and it seems to come out probably when you lose a game of football. The old hoofball adage comes out, and I've seen it linked to ourselves, I've seen it linked to Morton, I've seen it linked to 2 or 3 other clubs. It's crazy. You know, Wraith Rovers last year were probably one of the most footballing sides in the league, and fair play to Ian and his staff and at Wraith, they've adapted. They've gone a little bit more direct this year and they find themselves at the top of the league. So there's a difference between playing long balls and long passes, and at times we have to do that because I think that's one of our strengths, and it proved one of our strengths last year. But I think we've also got players, as it proved in this game against Wraith, that first goal just sums it up. It's something we've been working on building out from goal kicks during the week. Worked great. I think it must have been about 15-16 passes or something, and it ends up in the back of the net with Aidan's fine strike. Wraith are a high pressing team. We knew we had to beat the initial press, and if we could beat that initial press, we'd find ourselves with opportunities on the counter attack to push forward, and that's how it did. Wraith got after the ball from our goal kick. We showed the right composure. We moved the ball quick enough, got it into Aidan, who was in acres of space, and then their back four dropped off, and Aidan's has a wonderful finish. So really proud of the goal. But it wasn't just that. There was whole pockets of real quality football within the game with 10 and 11 men. So really pleasing. Our boys can play football, our boys can mix it up and go a little bit more direct if they need to, and I think in this league you have to be adaptable. I think if you're an out and out footballing team like Queen's Park and Airdrie, I think you become a little bit predictable sometimes, and so being able to mix it up as Wraith have done this year, as Dundee United do, as we do, as Partick do, then you ask more questions of the opposition and you make yourself less of a target. We had a great game up at Dunfermline. It's probably one of our best performances of the season up at Dunfermline earlier on, and getting the victory was really important for us at that time, the 3 points. But Dunfermline are a team, again, they've shown a little bit of inconsistency, really good, really disappointing. I've watched James's interviews a couple of times, and there's a little bit of times he's been frustrated at his team, but there's other times they've been absolutely magnificent. They've got good players, they seem to know exactly what the manager wants, and that's built on a successful season last year. They've come up with a winning mentality, and they've proved they can be a match for anyone in this league. So we're fully aware that if we are not on song, that it could be a long day. They've got good players. Yes, they've picked up a few injuries, I get that. So they're not at their strongest, as a manager would want to be, but they're still very, very dangerous sides. And then they seem to be our nemesis, Morton. We seem to have the hex over them last season. They seem to have it over us this season. We've played them twice and lost twice, and the last one was so frustrating, the last game, to lose the goal from a scrappy set play in the last minute or last 2 minutes or something in the game. They're always great games. They're always physical battles, and I think that's the most important message in this type of games is first and foremost you've got to match them physically, for effort, for desire, for work rate, for aggression. Thereafter, you're hoping your quality players come to the fore and make the difference. Morton were excellent last year. They've got off to a real ropey start at the beginning of the season, but they are picking up really strongly and are on a great run of form now. And credit to the manager and his players for sticking together. Credit to their board to sticking with the manager at the time, because it's too easy nowadays to wave the white flag when you get 2 or 3 different disappointing results. But it shows you also how tight this league is. They were well off near the bottom of the league, and now they've strung a few results together, and they're above us, and they're only 3 or 4 points off the playoffs, which is credit to them. But we're a good side. We know we're a good side, and if we play up to our standards, we're well capable of going up there and getting the victory. But first and foremost, it's winning that initial battle. No, really good. We're really pleased to get everybody back. So Jamie's back and available for selection. The only ones that are missing is obviously Sean due to his suspension for the next couple of games, and Andy Murdoch, who's still. It's great to see Andy out now. He's on the training ground. He's jogging around with the physio, so that's great. He's got out of the gym now, where he was probably doing his head in a little bit. Getting to get a little bit of his banter in the training sessions as well. He's not kicking a ball yet, that's still a few weeks away. But other than that, no, everybody else up there fit and available for selection. So never mind picking a team, picking a squad's as difficult as it's been all season, which is a great place to be as a manager. On behalf of all the players, the staff and everybody at Ayr United Football Club, I want to say thank you for all your support in 2023 and wishing you all the very best new year heading into 2024.